yesterday, a friend and I decided that we wanted to catch up. We thought that it would be nice to go outside. It was a beautiful day. So we decided we'd go to the park to chat for a couple of hours, to find out what each other was doing in our lives. When I made the recommendation to go to the park, I thought we would take some snacks with us, and we would enjoy ourselves outside. And her suggestion was, let's take some beer. Later, another day, I asked my friend if she wanted to do a study session for school. She said, that's great. She needs to catch up on schoolwork. Right before we decided that we were going to meet at Panera Bread, she called me and said, hey, do you need to take an Adderall as well before we start doing our study session? Addiction is all around us. No matter where we go, it seems that there's always the option to drink another beer, to take another pill, just to get through the day, regardless of whether we need it or not. With this speech, I'm going to persuade you that addiction is a large issue in the United States. We're going to talk about the range of people that it affects, from teenagers to adults, and we're also going to talk about how hard it is to break an addiction once you have one. How it's nearly impossible to find a safe zone so that you're not caught up in doing it all over again when you're already addicted. And we're going to talk about how the United States doesn't have a good support system to remedy the problem. Our first discussion topic is about who it affects in this country. We hear about teenagers getting sucked into it at school, about how everyone else is doing it, the cool kids are doing it, so why don't we all just start drinking, even though this may be your first time ever drinking. We talk about how adults start drinking because life has become too hectic. They have too many kids, they have too many errands to run, so they take that glass of wine when they get home that leads to a glass of wine every night. That becomes a problem. In an article by the National Institute of Health, they tell us that currently addiction affects 23.2 million Americans, of whom only about 10% are receiving the treatment they need. This addiction ranges from pills, it ranges from the heavier drugs such as heroin or cocaine, and it ranges to the everyday alcohol that we see at a restaurant, at a bar, at bowling alleys, and places where we go for enjoyment. This addiction also affects not only the teenagers and adults in their life, but also affects the children. Babies are born addicted to drugs because people have that addiction when they're pregnant, because it's becoming a problem in their life. That baby is born without a chance. That baby is born without the chance to not be an addict because of what we made them. As we go through that addiction, sometimes we do want to find a way to cure our friends and our family members. How are we to cure somebody if no matter where we go, we keep running into the same thing? We go to the restaurant and there's the new ad for new beer that they're launching, new wine that they have. We go to Chuck E. Cheese now and we find out that you can get beer at Chuck E. Cheese while your kids are playing in the amusements. In the Hearst newspaper, Miranda Morley tells us in the United States, alcohol sales equal about $90 billion per year. Unlike many other entertainment expenses, alcohol sales even tend to thrive during most recessions. In fact, an alcohol industry analysis for Standard & Poor's told CNN Money that people generally continue to drink through a recession. That means that even when we don't have any money to spend, we don't have money to support our families, we still take that money and we go find amusement and a release through alcohol. When you want to help people, you can't take them anywhere without seeing it. So people are constantly getting in trouble. They're constantly running into the problems, and they're staying an addict. So when they keep on getting in trouble and they keep getting pulled over by the police officers, or they keep getting called out at the bar and they keep getting sent home because they've had too much to drink, do we find help in the government system? We don't. They continuously go to court. They continuously go to AA classes for a day or for 2 days, but they're not told they have to stay in that class. There's no one standing by their side telling them that they want to make sure that they're going to be cured. There is no government that tells them that they have to be in a specific program for an extended period of time until they are cured. Deborah Brawzer from the American Psychiatric Association found that although the periods of involuntary treatment varied, the median time was 24 hours from police pickup, ranging 7 to 120 hours from the time that they're found with a DUI or found with a problem. 3 days for emergency Deborah Brawzer also says that 3 days for emergency hospitalization range from 1 to 15 days, and 3 months for civil commitment, ranging from 1 month to 5 months. This means that regardless of how bad a person is, how much trouble they've gotten in, how many DUIs they get, yeah, they may have their car taken away, they might have their license taken away. That didn't cure the problem. They can still drink, they can still walk, they can still ride their bike, they can still get to places to continue their addiction. They can still go to the stores, and they can still get things at CVS over-counter or without being over-counter and make drugs. Those problems are still out there, and the government haven't solved the issue. I hope with learning through the people that it affects, that's your family members, regardless of the age, your friends and family, most of you know someone who has a problem, who has an addiction. Through seeing that once they're addicted, we don't have any way to keep them away from it, because there's so many that already have the problem, and there's so many places that don't see the problem. And through looking that the current support system does not exist in the United States, I hope that you see that addiction is a huge issue in this country. And unless we do something to try to make sure that our friends and families don't continue to be affected by it, this entire country is going to be overtaken by addicts.
Very good.